Last time, I finally tackled the apartment's biggest headache, the smoke shaft. After months of dealing with hidden mold, several weak spots, and a horrific smell of smoke throughout the entire apartment, it felt like an amazing victory. Also, for the first time, that corner of the apartment was both solid and, more importantly, mold-free. With the smoke shaft sorted, it's time to move on and start bringing the rest of this apartment back to life. The first thing we jump into this week is a quick time lapse of me and my girlfriend studying out the rest of the western wall in the living room. We also added a black wind membrane to the northern wall and got the bottom sill plate in place, but I don't have that on video. It will make more sense after the next clip of me giving an update from the smoke shaft. Let's jump into it. I'm up in the smoke shaft right now, and as you can see, I have skim coated it all. I wasn't so happy with the result when I left it yesterday, but now it's dried out, it actually looks quite alright. First thing is that we will crack on downstairs, because this is a job, despite it being time consuming, and I need to account for some dry time as well. I would rather spend the time downstairs when I've got some extra hands, so I'll get cracking on that. Alright, so we're back here. Me and my girlfriend are here this weekend, and we were here also yesterday. We didn't film too much. What we did was that we coated the smoke shaft upstairs, but another important thing that we did was that we fully got this wall sorted and got it all insulated, so that now it's ready for being plasterboarded. That's only the next step that we need to do down here in the living room, and then skim coat, paint, and then floor and ceiling, and then we're done down here. Because we also need to do that with this wall, where it's also, we started framing out the wall here with timber. We had to call for some help, because on this one we could screw the top 2x4 into some wood above, and we could screw the bottom one into the wood flooring. However, on this one we have to anchor it into the wall, and to anchor it into the wall, like, you need to use these very, very long nails. They're 112 mils. We're going to frame this out today. We are using 2x4s to frame it out. Normally what you're doing when you're framing out with the 2x4 is that you put it this way, because it makes it more sturdy, and it gives you like 100 millimeters of insulation that way. However, we don't have space to do that because of the staircase over here, and we want the plasterboards to go in line with the edge of the staircase out here. So that we're going to put them in like that matter. As you can see, we've done with the first one down here, and then we're only going to put 50 mil of insulation into this wall. But it's better than what it was before, because before there was no insulation at all, aside from that Silotex old fire caulk. Hopefully me and my girlfriend will get this wall done today, so that we can reuse the rest of the insulation from upstairs, and we also need to do another coat of the smoke shaft. So yeah, we'll get on with it today, and we'll see how far we're going to get. As you can probably tell, we got a lot of stuff done this weekend. For the next couple of days, it's only going to be me. I've taken the next 9 days off because it's Easter here in Denmark. So that's a good 10 days of work that I can be doing here in the house. So I'm really hoping that we can fast forward this renovation. And as you can see behind me, we got a lot of stuff done yesterday, me and my girlfriend. I'm standing in the living room right now. The only thing that's missing right now is a few pieces of insulation. I have now reused all of the insulation that we took up upstairs. So what I need to do is I need to buy some new insulation. I'll get that done today. I'll fill it in. After that's been filled in, I can actually go and I can complete this entire wall with plasterboard. I can complete that wall over here. And then after that's done, I need to skim coat this entire first floor. The only thing that I noticed is that there is some small element under the staircase. I have not framed that out as of yet, and the reason why I haven't framed that out and added in insulation is that it's going to be a separate area, so I can do it after. And the reason why I haven't done that yet is because it is actually a bit crumbly down there. So since my cousin is a bricklayer and he's still fixing the bathroom, I want him to come in, patch the area to just ensure the bricks are held in place and that it's a nice and smooth surface. I am right now underneath the staircase, and if I just move very close to this, you can probably see that, yeah, very clumsy. I can feel breezes coming up here. So what I need to do is I need to get rid of this insulation material that was used back in the days. I'll get rid of that. I'll use the multi-cutter to get it out. Then I need to remove the last strip of wallpaper that we've got left here. I will then let Jesper do his thing underneath, and then I will add in some wooden structure so that we can add in the plasterboard on top of that, and I'll make that nice and flush. On that wall over here, we are going to add 2 sheets of plasterboard. They're 13 mil. That will be 26 mil plus a layer of skim coating, etc. On the other wall, we are only going to add 1 piece of plasterboard. The reason for that is, as you can see, I just have shy of 19 mil of gap there, meaning that if the plasterboard is 13 millimeters, I cannot add 2 pieces because then it's not going to sit flush with the staircase here. Aside from that, then you can see this is probably the cleanest that the living room has been for a very, very long time. And I did move all of my stuff out here in the kitchen. So this is where I've got all of my tools and all of the different pieces of equipment. Another thing I did yesterday was I patched a few big holes. So there was one right here that was patched. There was a small one here that my girlfriend patched the other day. So I think the only thing that I need to do right now is to actually take out all of these plugs, just offset them for the wall so that I can skim coat it. After putting up the plasterboard in here, this entire room or this entire floor, aside from the toilet, is actually going to be ready to be plastered. Moving upstairs, now on the 2nd floor, I'm in the future main bedroom. What I need to do up here right now is that I need to fix the electrics. So this one, the socket here, as you could see, is connected to that one where we don't have any light hanging out. I don't have any pluggets or sockets in this room, so there's technically no light in this room, but my brother is a trained electrician, so he can fix it. The light out here does work, and that's the only one that works up here on the 2nd floor. The one in this room, despite it hanging just here and hanging a bit loose here because my girlfriend sanded this beam down the other day, does not work, and I reckon it's basically just because of a loose connection in this socket down here, because the bottom switch does actually work, so if I plug in a vacuum cleaner it does work. There's a few things to be done up here. I need to plasterboard this element, I need to plasterboard the walls, of course, and the room inside next door. Well, I could technically plasterboard this side, and I'm probably going to do that. But before I do that, I need to fix that wire. That wire actually has to go through the wooden structure here, up through there, and into the smoke shaft, because this is the wire for the arm, the electric arm, that will open and close the famous window that we've been struggling so hard with. So I need to plug that in again, but I would like my brother to come and do that because I'm not too comfortable in working with these electrical appliances. As you can see, I've sanded it down, and I am going to give it another skim coat, and that's actually what I'm going to be doing tonight. Don't worry about the corners because I'm going to fill them in with some acrylic filling. So I think what I'll do today is I'm going to give this another coat because I want to get rid of these small white spots here and these small dips, if you can call them that, in the plaster. So I think a 2nd coat will do that nicely. I've also cut out a lot of these small bubbles that happened, and I think the reason why this has been so hard, and I think you can actually see it on the footage, is because it's not sitting completely flush. So that's what makes it hard to do this gap. It might be a bit overkill to do it a 2nd time, but I've got the time, and I'd rather be doing like some experimental stuff up here where I go a bit over the top before I do all of the finishes in the room, because as you can probably tell just around me, I'm going to have a lot of things that I need to plasterboard. All of it is going to be like, so 2 layers of plasterboard, 2x13mm, and then I need to do a lot of cuts around these beams. I need to do a lot of fillings in these small gaps. There's a lot of finishes that goes into this, and I really want it to be looking nicely. So yeah, enough chatting. Might as well get started with today. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. I've spent the last 45 minutes carrying up those plasterboards that you see right there. There's a total of 40 sheets of plasterboard. You're welcome to count them. No, but I've spent most of my day doing practical stuff. You've seen me assemble this working station. You've seen me carrying up a lot of stuff. I've done a few things off camera. Now the fun starts, because now I am going to properly insulate this wall. It's going to be with this insulation. It's only going to be 45mm of insulation on this wall. However, it's going to be better than what it was previously, because there was no insulation previously, or the only insulation that was the sort of like cork wood plates called Celotex in Danish, not so sure what they're called in English, and they are dangerous as fuck. Again, the only plasterboard I've done is the one that I've done in the smoke shaft upstairs, so it's going to be a good experience, and I think I'm going to be a plasterboard and plastering master when I'm done with this renovation, which is going to come in hand because I'm going to do more renovations in the future. So considering that I've never done any of these elements before, I think we are onto quite a good job. And when I'm sending videos and photos to my friends, the ones that are the real experts, they say look alright on photos, so I believe that to be true. But enough chatting from my side. I'd rather crack on here, so I'll put on some music, put on the time lapse, and then you can follow along. So it's going to be that wall first. See you in a bit. That went by very smoothly. I think it took me like 15 minutes, so very, very easy job. It just makes so much of a difference because it's visual. I need to put on the plasterboards right now. So let me just do a bit of explanation to what I will be doing. Before I get started, let me just address something for you real quick. Because these two floors are put up at a certain distance. So the plasterboards, they have like a downslope at either side that makes them easier to connect together. I don't want that downslope side to be when I started over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off. It's only 5 centimeters. And then the plasterboards, they're 90 centimeters wide. I have put these up with a distance of 45. So in reality, I could have a full piece of plasterboard between those two here. Then I can have another one between those two here, and another one, and another one. However, the first one's only by 40 because I'm accounting for the one that I am offsetting with 5 centimeters. So I just need to figure out right now that we have, so 4.5, meaning that I'm going to cut off the end of one, put them up, and then I'm going to start in the other side when I'm putting on the second layer of plasterboards and start at the other end so that they are overlapping. I hope, you're going to see it in the time lapse anyway.
Okay, watching it all back, I realized that I may over-explain some elements from time to time. I hope that the time-lapse made it make sense to you, and in the coming episode, we'll continue plasterboarding the living room and crack on upstairs. See you then. Rune out.